Hello students. So today we are going to learn our first chapter of the science, that is crop production and management. So here you can see in the PPT the first slide is introduction slide. So whatever the points are there in the book, so I have written all the points in the PPT. So in the PPT main points are explained. You have to read the book. Whatever doubts you have, you can ask to me afterwards. So here in the introduction the first slide is given. So here in the first slide we can see India's most important crops include cotton, tea, rice, wheat and sugarcane. In our India we are taking a different type of crop production because there are variations in the states as well as there is a variation in the crops. So here we can see cotton, tea, rice, wheat, sugarcane. These are the well-known plants, well-known crops for us, and these are mainly taken in our India. Again, with those crop, again there are cash crops which include jute, groundnuts, coffee, oil seeds and spices. So here these are the commercial crop productions plants. So here the jute, groundnuts, coffee, oil seeds and spices, they are commercial crops or cash crops by which we can earn money. Again, another central feature of our India's agricultural economy is the raising of livestock, particularly horned cattle. Means here in our farm, in our field, we are rearing the cattle like buffalo, then goat, which are having the horn. We already, you are knowing what is meant by horn. In 2005, the country had 185 million cattle, substantially more than almost any other country. Here substantially means for the most part, otherwise you can take essentially also. So in our India in 2005 there were more cattle as compared to other countries. The cattle are used mainly as a draft animals and for leather. As farmers increasingly use machinery, the number of livestock they raise will probably decrease. Now we can see in the farm, instead of animals we are using different type of machineries which can do the work in a less time, and that's why probably these animals numbers are get decreased. Initially, if we see in our farm, if we ask our grandparents, they were using ox for many purposes in the farm. But nowadays that place is taken by the different type of machineries. Buffalo is the main animal used for producing milk and dairy products. Buffalo is the main animal. With the buffalo, again cow also gives us milk, goat also gives us milk, but buffalo is the main animal which is used to produce milk and as well as dairy product, again many products which are made by the milk. Milk production and distribution increased dramatically in 1990s because of nationwide government supported cooperative dairy program. Sheep are raised for wool. In previous class you learnt about the fiber and wool, fiber and fabric. So there you have seen the sheep are raised for wool and goats are the main meat animal. Many Indians, particularly Hindus, refuse to eat beef for religious reasons, although they eat other meat, eggs and fish. So with the plants, again the animals are also used to for different purposes. For example, to complete the demand of food also, because we know that the cow, buffalo, they give us milk as well as hen gives us egg, and goat also reared for the meat purpose. Some people eat fish also. So the food demand is completed by plant also and with the help of animal also. So here we can see again next slide. Now in the chapter the main point is crop. As we have seen, the chapter name is crop production and management. So there the first word is crop. So what is crop? Many students are having the doubt in their mind, So what is crop? Here we can see in the picture, in the field, in that picture there are many plants of same kind, and they planted at one place only. So the definition of the crop is when plants of same kind, means same type, not different type, same kind. If we take a plant wheat, then only wheat plant, that is the same kind. We cannot take maize or bajra, just we can take the wheat plant. So when plants of same kind are grown and cultivated at one place on a large scale, it is called a crop. Now here in the picture, all over there are a green same kind of plant, those are wheat plant. They are grown at the same place, they are cultivated at the same place and on a large scale, means in more amount. That is called as crop. Here example is given, crop of wheat means that all the plants grown in a field are that of wheat. So this is the crop. Next point is types of crop. In your book Kharif crop and Rabi crops, these 2 points are given. Mainly these types of crops mostly ask for the differentiate. So here you can write a difference between the Kharif crops and Rabi crops, but we will learn what is the Kharif crops. The crops which are sown in the rainy season are called as Kharif crop. So Kharif crops are mainly sown in the rainy season, and we know that rainy season in our India is from June to September. Examples of the Kharif crops are paddy, maize, soybean, groundnut and cotton. Paddy means rice. So these are the examples. You should not get confused in between the examples of Kharif crop and Rabi crops. Now, as Kharif crops are sown in rainy season, we compare with the Rabi crops. Rabi crops grown in the winter season. Rabi crops are grown in the winter season are called as, the crops grown in the winter season are called as Rabi crops. So the period for this Rabi crops is generally from October to March, where in the Kharif crop the period is June to September, and in Rabi crops October to March. Examples of Rabi crops means these crops are mostly grown in the winter season. Those are wheat, gram, pea, mustard and linseed. So here gram means harbara, you know that. Mustard in Marathi we can say mori, and linseed we can say in Marathi javas. So these are the crops which are grown in the winter season, and these are also called as Rabi crops. So this is the question, differentiate between Kharif crop and Rabi crop. You can write in the notebook. Now basic practices of production means basic practices of crop production. Here the meaning of cultivation is given. Cultivation of crop involves several activities. Several means many activities are there. These activities are referred as agricultural practices. So which activities are included? So here is the next point, basic practices of crop production. Cultivation of crop involves several activities. These activities are referred as agricultural practices. So here in this slide you can see the 7 activities are given: preparation of soil, sowing, adding manure and fertilizer, irrigation, protecting from weeds, harvesting and storage. So here the 7 activities are given here. So these 7 activities are called as agricultural practices. So these agricultural practices helpful for the crop production and management. Without these practices, the crop production is not possible. So the preparation of soil, we will see the first. What is meant by preparation of soil? preparation of soil. This is the first step of the agricultural practices in the crop production, and this preparation of soil is most important step for growing the crops. So it is done before growing the crops. It is one of the most important tasks in the agriculture. Now here in the preparation of the soil is to turn and loosen. This allows the roots to penetrate deep into the soil. So in the preparation of soil, the soil is loosened as well as turned. So why it is done in the preparation of soil? Because when the soil become loose, then the roots of the plants can penetrate deep in the soil, and then the loose soil allows the root to breathe easily. We know that respiration is the main characteristics of the living organism. So roots also breathe, but when the soil is loose, even when they go deep into the soil. The loosened soil helps in the growth of earthworm and microbes present in the soil. These organisms are friends of the farmer, since they further turn and lose the soil and humus to eat. So this loosened soil helps the earthworm for the growth, and again with the earthworm there are different type of microorganisms which are present in the soil. So that is a shelter. Soil is a shelter of the different type of microorganisms and earthworm. If the soil is loose, then they grow properly, and these microorganism, this earthworm helps the farmer to decompose all the type of organic waste into the humus, and afterwards the soil becomes loose, and then the soil get the humus from the decomposition process where the earthworm and microbes help. Tilling. The process of loosening and turning the soil is called tilling or plowing. This is done by using a plow. The process of loosening and turning the soil, it is most important in the preparation of soil. Once the soil become loose and turned, then the nutrients which are present in the soil, the plants will get it properly. And this process, the loosening and turning of the soil, it is called as tilling or plowing. So here in the picture we can see this. In this picture, the process of loosening and turning soil is done with the help of plowing process. So this is the tilling. And agricultural implements for tilling. Here in the picture you can see two implements are shown, that is wooden plow and iron plow. So plow, in old days people use this wooden plow, but nowadays people use iron plow. This plow is drawn with the help of bull. This is made of wood and is drawn by a pair of bulls or other animals like horses and camels. It contains a strong triangular iron strip called plowshare. The main part of the plow is long of wood, which is called plow shaft. There is a handle at one end of the shaft. The other end is attached to a beam which is placed on bull's neck. One pair of bulls and a man can easily operate the plow. Here in the picture you can see the man with the help of bulls doing the tilling and plowing process, where we can see the long part of the wood is here and the one pair of bulls and a man can easily operate the plow. So this is the wooden plow, or this is the plow picture which can show the plowing process. Now agricultural implements for tilling. Hoe. It is a simple tool which is used for removing weeds and for loosening the soil. Weeds means unwanted plants. which are called as grass, which is not required. Unwanted plants are called as weeds. This hoe has a long rod of wood or iron. A strong, broad and bent plate of iron is fixed to one end of it and works like a blade. It is pulled by animals. So the picture of hoe is given in our textbook. You can see that picture of hoe. Now the next point is the cultivator. Nowadays the plowing is done by the tractor driven cultivator. The use of this cultivator saves labor as well as time. So this cultivator is now used in our field. So this cultivator helps to do the work fast. In farm, labor or workers are less required because the cultivator saves labor as well as time. Within a short time, all the preparation of the soil can be done with the help of this cultivator. So here in the picture you can see the cultivator picture, which can do the tilling and plowing process in a short time on a large scale. Now second step of agricultural practices is sowing. This is the second activity, which is again most important. After the preparation of the soil, sowing is done. So for the sowing, the first important point is the selection of seeds. So we have to select the good quality of seed for the sowing purpose. Sowing is the most important part of crop production. Before sowing, good quality seeds are selected. Good quality seeds are clear and healthy seeds of a good variety. Farmers prefer to use seeds which give high yield. So the farmer can bring the high quality or good quality seed from the market, which can give the high yield, which can give the more production. That's why the good quality seeds are get selected. And in our book there is a small activity. How can we check the good quality of seed? So here in the bowl, we can do at home also. In the bowl you take wheat seed and add some amount of water in the wheat seed. After some time you can see some wheat seeds can float on a water. So those floating seeds are hollow from inside or they are damaged. That's why they are floating on a water surface. So whatever the seeds are floating on a water surface, those are not of good quality seeds. But the seeds which are sinked at the bottom of the bowl, those are good quality of seed. This is the simple activity which can shows us what is a good quality seed and how can we select the good quality of seed. Tools used for sowing seeds. There are two types of tools which are used for the sowing seeds. One is the traditional tool and another is the seed drill. Now in the traditional tool, the tool used traditionally for sowing seeds is shaped like funnel. The seeds are filled in the funnel, passed down through 2 or 3 pipes having sharp ends. These ends pierce into the soil and place seeds there. So here this traditional tool helps to sow the seed. In the picture you can see with the help of traditional tool the seeds are sown in the farm in the soil at the proper distances. So this method is used in olden days, that is the traditional method of sowing. Tools used for sowing seeds. Seed drill. In the picture you can see the seed drill. With the help of seed drill, the person is sowing the seed. Nowadays, the seed drill is used for sowing the seeds with the help of tractors. So here is the tractor. With the help of tractor, this is the seed drill. So with the help of tractors, the person is sowing the seed. This tool sows the seeds uniformly at proper distances and depth. It also ensures that seeds get covered with the soil. Now see here, this is the most important point, uniformly at proper distances, because we cannot throw the seeds in the farm in the soil. If we throw the seeds with the hand, then the seed may fall at one place, and in future or after some time the more plants can grow at one place, means there would be crowd of the plants which cannot good for the growth of the plant. So uniformly at a proper distances and at a proper depth the seed should be grown. So a seed should be sown. So at a proper distance, the distance should be uniform, equal or proper. So this ensures the seed get covered with the soil, and if the seed not get covered with the soil, there are the possibilities may birds eat the seed or seed will not grow in a proper condition. So here the seed drill helps to sow the seed properly at uniform distances and the proper depth. Third step is adding manure and fertilizer. First step we have seen preparation of soil, second is sowing, and after sowing the most important step is adding manure and fertilizer, which can help in the nourishment of the crops. Now the substances which are added to the soil in the form of nutrients for healthy growth of plant are called as manures and fertilizers. As we need a proper nutrients for our growth, same plants also need some nutrients for their growth, for their healthy growth. So for their healthy growth the nutrients are required, and the nutrients are present in the soil, but sometimes after more cultivation at this in the same step of soil again and again, which can make nutrients less in the soil. So here the manure and the fertilizers we can add in the farm, or farmer can add in the farm, so which can help for the proper growth of the plants. So these substances which are added in the soil in the form of nutrients, those are called as manure and fertilizer. Soil supplies mineral nutrients to the crop. These nutrients are essential for growth of the plant. In certain areas, if the farmer grow crop in the field is never uncultivated or fallow, because of this continuous growing of crop makes the soil poor or poorer in the certain nutrients. Therefore the farmer have to add manure to the field to replenish the soil with the nutrients. This process is called as manuring. Improper or insufficient manuring result in weak plants. So if the farmer cultivate crops at the same place again and again, so this continuous cultivation can reduce the nutrients in the soil, and which can make the soil very poor or weak. And in a poor soil or in a weak soil, plants cannot grow properly. Yes, the healthy plant cannot grow properly. That's why farmers add some manures or fertilizers in the soil to replenish the soil with the nutrients. So here this adding manure and fertilizer is most important for the growth of the plant. But what is the difference in between the manure and the fertilizers? So manure is organic substance, where fertilizer is inorganic salt. Now manure is organic substance, and this manure is obtained from the decomposition of the plant or animal waste. But fertilizer is inorganic salt, and this fertilizer is prepared in the factories, but manure is prepared in field. Manure provides lot of humus to the soil, but fertilizer cannot provide lot of humus to the or any type of humus to the soil. Manure is relatively less rich in plant nutrients as compared to fertilizer. And now fertilizers are very rich in plant nutrients like nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. This is the main difference in between the manure and fertilizers. Example of fertilizer: urea, ammonium sulfate, superphosphate, potash, NPK means N for nitrogen, P for phosphorus and K for potassium. So these are the examples of fertilizers. But we have to remember one thing, that overuse of fertilizers may cause water pollution. So overuse of fertilizers we have to avoid. Whatever the requirement of the soil, that much only fertilizer we have to add. As it is inorganic salt, it is prepared in the factories, so we cannot use the fertilizer in more amount unnecessarily. So whatever the fixed fertilizer is required to the soil, that much only farmer has to add in the soil. Students, you can see in the picture these two farmers adding fertilizers in the farm. So this adding fertilizer in the farm helps the soil to be rich with the nutrients, and which we can see the healthy crops can grow in the farm by adding the fertilizer. Fourth number activity is irrigation. First number was preparation of soil, second was sowing, third was adding manure and fertilizer, and the fourth one is irrigation. Irrigation means the supply of water to the crops at different intervals is called as irrigation. It is again most important after the manuring and adding fertilizer. The supply of water is done to the crops at different interval of time, which is called as irrigation. But in the irrigation there are two types of irrigation processes, that is traditional method and modern method. So here some sources of irrigations are shown here. The sources of irrigation are wells, tube wells, ponds, lakes, rivers, dam and canals, through which the water can be lift up and provide or supply to the different type of crops. Now here the types of irrigation are shown, traditional method and modern method. So what is the traditional method and what is the modern method? We will see with some pictures, and in our book the traditional method pictures are shown very properly and clearly, so you can use the content book for the reference. And the modern method also, some pictures are shown in the book, but we know the modern method, that is the drip irrigation as well as the sprinkle irrigation. These two type of irrigations are included in the modern method. Traditional method of irrigation: chain pump, moat or pulley system, Dhekli or Rahat, lever system. These are the traditional methods of the irrigation. In olden days, chain pump, moat, Dhekli, Rahat, these are used to supply the water to the farm. And some other traditional methods of irrigation here we can see in the pictures. In olden days, these traditional methods were used to supply the water to the crops. A cattle or human labor is used in this method. So this method is cheaper but less efficient. So now here in the picture you can see the pump, chain pump. So pumps are commonly used for lifting water. Diesel, biogas, electricity and solar energy is used to run these pumps. So in this way we have seen the traditional methods of irrigation. Now we are going to see some modern methods of irrigation. In the picture, modern method of irrigation, here the sprinkle system and drip system is shown. So there is a little change. This is the drip system and this is the sprinkle system. Please kindly note this change. This is the heading should be here and the heading, this heading should be here. So this is the picture of drip system and this is the picture of sprinkle system. So by the drip irrigation, the water is supplied to the crops, which can save water. Here also the sprinkle system is used in uneven area to supply the water to the crops, and here the water falls drop by drop at the base of the plant near the root, which can save water in more amount. So these modern methods of irrigation are very useful to save water, and nowadays we are suffering from the water scarcity problem, so we have to focus on these two irrigation systems.